So, via a series of articles that we're going to be diving into today, it seems like we have officially entered Mikko Rantanen watch. And I know, it's not the most realistic idea in the world. But we do have ourselves enough ammo to go out there and make a full-length video about this topic, so without further ado, let's dive into it all. This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and use the first link in the description to get some free months on your VPN and save some money. It also helps the channel out in the process. But also linked in the description of this video are going to be 3 different articles. Yeah, that's right, we're diving into 3 pieces, starting out with what was said on TVA Sports on January 17th. Let's take a look at this. Teams have started calling for Mikko Rantanen. And according to Nick Kypreos, there are 3 teams who have reportedly made serious offers to the Avs to acquire forward Mikko Rantanen. Now, at this point, I don't think anybody really needs the scoop. Mikko Rantanen is one of the best players in the NHL. He is one of the top scorers in the NHL, and the fact that he is 28 years old, he is smack dab in the middle of his prime as one of the best shooters and playmakers the league has. He's on pace for another 100-plus point season. His contract is expiring at the end of this year, making $9.25 million, so he's definitely going to get a lot of dough. Anyways, going back over onto the TVA Sports article, this is what it says here. The Avs would not want to trade the man who could become a free agent at the end of the current campaign. The Colorado club would still hope to agree to terms on a contract extension with the 28-year-old. According to Kypreos, the Avalanche have offered an 8-year, $90 million AAV. However, he is reportedly looking for a bigger salary. Oh boy, he just rejected an $11.25 million contract, eh? The 2 sides are reportedly not close to an agreement. They are more than $1 million apart, maybe even $2 million. Rantanen's name is circulating, and if these contract negotiations don't move forward quickly, he will become one of the most important trade targets of the season. In 46 games, the Finn has scored 25 goals and had 37 assists for 62 points. So this scoop from Kypreos is big, and we can make an entire video just about that in itself. Hey, Rantanen rejected an $11.25 million AAV contract extension. That's huge. But with this in mind, let's go over onto our second article of the day. The first one from TVA is going to be linked in the description, as are the other 2. Let's take a look at January 14th's Eric Engels Canadiens mailbag. What would it take to sign Jake Evans? If you scroll down to one of the comments and questions here from Jimmy Vachon, "Hi Eric, what UFA do you think the Habs would have interest this year if you want to take another step forward?" Eric Engels replies, "Just my opinion, but I think the Montreal Canadiens would back up a Brinks truck up Mikko Rantanen's door if he made it to the market." Essentially saying, if Mikko Rantanen was on the free agent market, Eric Engels feels the Canadiens would pay an extraordinary amount of money to get him in Montreal. And of course, I mean, thinking about that fit, I would love to see Mikko Rantanen and Patrik Laine doing their thing together, get the Fantastic Finns all up in there clapping bombs and doing whatever it is to your moms. Maybe even Oliver Kapanen can come back over onto the team, and you could have an all-Finn line. Or you could toss Yoel Armia on there too, who really knows? But Eric Engels is the one who brought it up here. He thinks the Canadiens would go after Mikko Rantanen. And furthermore, we're going over onto another article on HabsFanatics.com from earlier this morning because the entire Mikko Rantanen angle was actually brought up on BPM Sports Talk Radio. There is a Twitter video in this article. It's the BPM link, and they talk about Mikko Rantanen. It's actually from a few days ago. The article, however, that we're reading is from today. I like the article because it summarizes a lot of what Gonzo and Larocque end up talking about on their radio show. If Mikko Rantanen becomes a free agent, would you object to the Canadiens offering him $14 million a year? Larocque says, "I don't believe it. With Hage, Demidov, and all those guys whose entry-level contracts will eventually expire, you'll have to re-sign them. You can't do this with Rantanen, it doesn't work. He'll get his $14 million, but it won't be in Montreal." Montreal's in a rebuild, and managing money and entry-level contracts is super important to ensure you stay under the cap. You're in a rebuild. Maybe the Canadiens would want to speed the rebuild up like they did with Laine, but here we're talking about double Laine's salary. And so at the end of the day, We are hearing from Nick Kypreos that Rantanen already rejected an $11.25 million AAV deal. We're hearing from Eric Engels and his opinion that the Montreal Canadiens would likely offer a bunch of dough to Mikko Rantanen if he made it to the free agent market. And we're hearing on BPM Sports Talk Radio from their hosts that they would not make this contract signing with $14 million a year, etc. And the $14 million number is not new. We had talked about the idea of Rantanen going over to a team like Detroit, for example, at $14 million a year, because realistically, I mean, he is really good, so he could pretty much demand anything in that upper territory, and I don't think anybody would say it's outrageous. But for Mikko Rantanen himself, going over to a team like Montreal, if you want to talk about a superstar's home, a team where top-tier players will feel like top-tier players, they will be recognized at the grocery store, they won't be able to walk around the streets without being asked for a photograph, where they are the stars. This is a perfect environment for a guy like Mikko Rantanen, and especially, I'm thinking about Patrik Laine and that entire connection there. I don't know if they're friends, but the fact that they are Finnish is a pretty good start, I would say. Imagine a top six of Suzuki, Slafkovsky, Caulfield, Demidov, Laine, Rantanen. My goodness. I know the Montreal Canadiens are still a young team and they're trying to get better, but would that not be a top six caliber of a top team in a division? Like when you think about the Atlantic, okay, Montreal's in that wildcard battle right now. They're doing really well and they're progressing. Imagine if you add on Demidov and he has a similar Lane Hudson-esque impact on the team next year, and then you add freaking Rantanen. That team is all of a sudden a top 3 team in the Atlantic, and I don't really have any doubts about that. We're seeing the best out of this team already with Marty St. Louis and how they've been able to string together wins and they're looking really good, and this is some of the best hockey Montreal has played ever since they made it to the finals. And they have a chance to really go all in and just make them so much better for next season and beyond. I can't even begin to articulate how good this team could be with Mikko Rantanen, and if it takes $14 million a year, sure, it's a steep price, but Eric Engels is saying, hey, they'd drive a Brink-sized truck up to his door to get him if he ever hit the free agent market. With Kypreos also talking about how the Rantanen sweepstakes have started, how teams have gotten involved and asked Colorado for it, it's really getting me thinking that, hey, this possibility isn't all too unrealistic. There is a chance that Rantanen could be on another team in 2025-2026. Whether it's Montreal or not, we'll see. But I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the idea of Mikko Rantanen being a free agent target for the Montreal Canadiens, getting something in the $14-ish million AAV range? It's a lot of money. He would be the most expensive guy on the team by a mile. But I want you to let me know in the comments, how do you feel either way? Is it an appropriate dollar amount? Is it an appropriate fit here? What do you think about the Laine and Rantanen connection that could potentially be there? And if everything works out with Demidov and Rantanen, for example, just imagine that duo. How well are those two going to be able to bleed off of each other? Top power play looks like, okay, Laine, Suzuki, Hudson, Rantanen, and then either Caulfield or Demidov? I'm not really too sure. You might not even have a Caulfield or a Slafkovsky on the top power play if you have that setup. I mean, just kind of trying to think about it here. Yeah, you have to have Laine, you have to have Hudson, you have to have Rantanen, and then the other two guys, I guess you can say, are interchangeable. Do you want a net front face-off winning sniper guy like Nick Suzuki, or do you want Slafkovsky to be playing that bumper role net front? Would you rather have Caulfield in the second pairing to get some goal-scoring support on that unit with Matheson? Oh boy, there are a lot of different ways you can maneuver the Montreal Canadiens by adding those two guys onto the team. Demidov and Rantanen. Ay, ay, ay. You have Demidov and Caulfield on the second unit, with Slafkovsky, Suzuki, Rantanen, Laine, and Hudson on the first. I mean, what else is there to say? Of course, there isn't any guarantee that Rantanen would want to come to a team like Montreal in the first place. I'm just going out there and hypothesizing because I think it's fun. So thoughts in the comment section below about this Rantanen idea. Do you like it? Do you not? Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.